A star, or stars, and crescent featuring in some combination form the basis of symbols widely found across the ancient world, with examples attested from the Eastern Mediterranean, Persia, and Central Asia. The symbol emerged into popular use during the 19th century as a modernistic national symbol for the Ottoman Empire during the westernizing Tanzimat reforms. The Ottoman flag of 1844 with a white IYLDZ, Turkish 4-star crescent, on a red background continues to be in use as the flag of the Republic of Turkey with minor modifications. Other states formerly part of the Ottoman Empire also used the symbol, including Tunisia, 1831, Libya, 1951-1969 and after 2011, and Algeria, 1958. The same symbol was used in other national flags introduced during the 20th century, including the flags of Azerbaijan, 1918, Pakistan, 1947, Malaysia, 1948, and Mauritania, 1959. In Unicode, a star and crescent symbol is encoded at U+262A. The star and crescent appear, used in combination, in and around ancient Israel. It has been associated with the Moabites, 14th or early 13th-6th century BC, as the symbol or symbols appear on what are thought to be Moabite name seals. Crescents appearing together with a star or stars are a common feature of Sumerian iconography, the crescent usually being associated with the moon god Sin, Nana to the Sumerians, and the star, often identified as Venus, with Ishtar, Inanna to the Sumerians. However, in this context, there is a third element often seen, that being the sun disk of Shamash. Academic discussion of a star or stars together with crescents in Sumerian representations does not always clearly indicate if they appear in isolation, the star and crescent as such, or as part of a triad of symbols, the three celestial emblems, the sun disk of Shamash, U2 to the Sumerians, the crescent of Sin, Nana, and the star of Ishtar, Inanna to the Sumerians, or the crescent of Sin, the moon god, the star of Ishtar and the ray of Shamash. 5 Nevertheless, later use of the star and crescent by the Parthians, and other Iranian dynasties is often traced to earlier use in Mesopotamia. As one scholar observed, Tihi Parthian king Mithridates I conquered Mesopotamia around 147 BC, and Susa in about 140 BC. A later Parthian king, Orodes II, 58–38 BC, issued coins at Susa and elsewhere which display a star and crescent on the obverse. The succeeding ruler, Phraates IV, 38–3 halves BC, minted coins showing either a star alone or a star with crescent moon. In representing the star and crescent on their coins, the Parthians thus adopted traditional symbols used in Mesopotamia and Elam more than 2 millennia before their own arrival in those parts. Along these lines, some scholars maintain that later use of the symbol arose from Babylonian mythology, in which the juxtaposition of Sin, moon god, father of time, and Shamash, supreme ruling sun god, judge of heaven and earth, was a metaphor for the cosmic powers given to the Babylonian king to rule. The star and crescent was also the emblem of Mithridates VI Eupator. His royal emblem, an 8-rayed star and the crescent moon, represented the dynasty's patron gods, Zeus Stratios or Ahura Mazda, and Men Pharmakou, a Persian form of the native moon goddess. Other scholars have suggested that the star and crescent are more directly related to the cult of the god Mithra. Ustinova associates the star and crescent motif attested in a number of finds in the Bosporan kingdom, which date from the 5th century BC to the 1st century AD, with the cult of Mithras, and indicates the star and the crescent together constituted the emblem of Pontus and its kings, asserting that it was introduced to the Bosporus by Mithridates and his successors, where it is attested on coins, locally produced jewelry and other objects. She suggests that this emblem indicates the possibility of an earlier association of the Pontic dynasty with the cult of mounted Mithra. Mithra in fact must have been one of the most venerated gods of the Pontic kingdom, since its rulers bore the theomorphic name of Mithridates, although direct evidence for this cult is rather meager. McJing also notes the association of the star and crescent with Mithridates VI, discussing its appearance on his coins, and its survival in the coins of the Bosporan kingdom, where He star and crescent appear on Pontic royal coins from the time of Mithridates III and seem to have had oriental significance as a dynastic badge of the Mithridatic family, or the arms of the country of Pontus. As a Turkish scholar has observed, the significance of the star and crescent on royal coins has also been frequently debated. Many scholars have identified the star and the crescent as royal symbols of the Pontic kingdom. Their appearance on every royal issue suggests they were indeed important symbols, and the connection of this symbol to the royal family is definite. The nature of it, however, is still uncertain. Kleiner believed they were symbols of an indigenous god and had their origins in Persia. He associated the star and crescent with the god Men and saw them as representations of night and day. The star may be considered the sun here. Ritter, on the other hand, suggested that the star and crescent symbols derived from Perseus, just as the star symbol of the Macedonians did. Ma and Mithras are two other deities with whom the star and crescent symbol are associated. Olshausen believed that the star and crescent could be related to a syncretism of Pontic and Iranian iconography, the crescent for men and the star for Ahura Mazda. Recently, Summerer has convincingly suggested that men alone was the inspiration for the symbol on the royal coins of the Pontic kingdom. A combined star and crescent motif is commonly found on later coins minted by the Sassanids. This has led some researchers to suggest that Muslims adopted the symbol in the context of its use by Sasanian rulers. After describing the crowns of a number of Sassanid kings, which featured a crescent, sphere, and crescent, or star and crescent, Ayatollah remarks, Sasani coins remained in circulation in Muslim countries up to the end of the 1st century, Hijra. This detailed description of Sasani crowns was presented because the motifs mentioned, particularly the crescent and star, gradually changed into Islamic symbols and have often appeared in the decorative patterns of various periods of Islamic art. This author asserts that the flags of many Islamic countries bear crescents and stars and are proof of this Sasani innovation. By the late Hellenistic or early Roman period, the star and crescent motif had been associated to some degree with Byzantium. If any goddess had a connection with the walls in Constantinople, it was Hecate. Hecate had a cult in Byzantium from the time of its founding. Like Bizaz in one legend, she had her origins in Thrace. For example, some Byzantine coins of the 1st century BC and later show the head of Artemis with bow and quiver, and feature a crescent with what appears to be a six-rayed star on the reverse. In 330 AD, Byzantium Emperor Constantine used this symbol while rededicating Constantinople to Virgin Mary. According to accounts which vary in some of the details, in 340 BC the Byzantines and their allies the Athenians were under siege by the troops of Philip of Macedon. On a particularly dark and wet night Philip attempted a surprise attack but was thwarted by the appearance of a bright light in the sky. This light is occasionally described by subsequent interpreters as a meteor, sometimes as the moon, and some accounts also mention the barking of dogs. However, the original accounts mention only a light in the sky, without specifying the moon. To commemorate the event the Byzantines erected a statue of Artemis, or Hecate, Lampidephoros, light-bearer or bringer. This story survived in the works Hesychus of Miletus, who in all probability lived in the time of Justinian I. His works survive only in fragments preserved in Photius and the 10th century lexicographer Suidas. The tale is also related by Stephanus of Byzantium, and Eustathius. Devotion to Hecate was especially favored by the Byzantines for her aid in having protected them from the incursions of Philip of Macedon. Her symbols were the crescent and star, and the walls of her city were her provenance. Later, under the Romans, cities in the empire often continued to issue their own coinage. Of the many themes that were used on local coinage, celestial and astral symbols often appeared, mostly stars or crescent moons. The wide variety of these issues, and the varying explanations for the significance of the star and crescent on Roman coinage precludes their discussion here. It is, however, apparent that by the time of the Romans, coins featuring a star or crescent in some combination were not at all rare. In the Middle Ages, the star and crescent combination was not associated with Islam, and does appear in Christian iconography. The use of the crescent symbol, without the star, on Muslim flags is first seen by Europe during the Crusades. Flags showing crescents appear in depictions of flags from the 14th century, in the Libro de Conocimiento and the Catalan Atlas. In these early examples, the crescent mostly pointed upward. 14th century Muslim flags with an upward pointing crescent in a monocolor field included the flags of Gabes, Tlemcen, Tilimsi, Damas and Lucania, Cairo, Mahdia, Tunis and Buda. Evidence of crescent use is also found in the 14th century blue ensign of Nubia/Dongola, documented by Angelino Dulcert in 1339, and yellow ensign of the Mamluks of Egypt. Flags with crescents facing the fly are attested from the 17th century. In the late Middle Ages it became fashionable to show attributed arms for historical and legendary individuals. Virgil Solus in his Wapenbuch line, 1555, shows such fictitious coats of arms for the three magi, the coat of arms attributed to Balthasar as a yellow star and crescent on a blue field. Later in the 16th century, the Cornic Neoric armorial shows a white star and crescent on a red field as the coat of arms of Illyria. The origin of the crescent and star symbols used by Turkic peoples goes back to the Tengrism era. Crescent represents the moon god, Iata, and the star represents the sun god, Gun-Ana. Coins of the Turkic Khaganate found in the various excavations in Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan, belonging years 576 to 600, proved that Turkic peoples were using star and crescent before Islam as their symbol. It has been suggested that the star and crescent used in Ottoman flags of the 19th century had been adopted from the Byzantines. Franz Babinger, 1992, suggests this possibility, noting that the crescent alone has a much older tradition also with Turkic tribes in the interior of Asia. Parsons, 2007, considers this unlikely, as the star and crescent was not a widespread motive in Byzantium at the time of the Ottoman conquest. Turkish historians tend to stress the antiquity of the crescent, not star and crescent, symbol among the early Turkic states in Asia. In Turkish tradition, there is an Ottoman legend of a dream of the eponymous founder of the Ottoman house, Osman I, in which he is reported to have seen a moon rising from the breast of a Muslim judge whose daughter he sought to marry. When full, it descended into his own breast. Then from his loins there sprang a tree, which as it grew came to cover the whole world with the shadow of its green and beautiful branches. Beneath it Osman saw the world spread out before him, surmounted by the crescent. The Mughal emperors were members of the Timurid dynasty, which was of Central Asian Turco-Mongol origin. The Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, r. 1628–1658, is known to have inlaid the crescent and star symbol upon his personal shield. Citation needed. And his son Aurangzeb, r. 1658–1707, is known to have used similar shields and flags containing an upward star and crescent symbol. The Nawab of the Carnatic in the first half of the 19th century also appears to have used flags with a star and crescent symbol. During the 1950s to 1960s, the symbol was reinterpreted as the symbol of Islam or the Muslim community. The symbolism of the star and crescent in the flag of the Kingdom of Libya, 1951–1969, was explained in an English-language booklet, The Libyan Flag and the National Anthem, issued by the Ministry of Information and Guidance of the Kingdom of Libya, year unknown, cited after Jos Poels at FOTW, 1997, as follows: the crescent is symbolic of the beginning of the lunar month according to the Muslim calendar. It brings back to our minds the story of Hijra, migration, of our Prophet Muhammad from his home in order to spread Islam and teach the principles of right and virtue. The star represents our smiling hope, the beauty of aim and object, and the light of our belief in God, in our country, its dignity and honor, which illuminate our way and puts an end to darkness. By the 1970s, this symbolism was embraced by movements of Arab nationalism or Islamism, such as the proposed Arab Islamic Republic, 1974, and the American Nation of Islam, 1973. Some star and crescent designs appearing in other contexts, sometimes unrelated to either the Turkic peoples or Islam, other times influenced by them. The People Nation street gangs have been known to use a star and crescent. The Leliwa coat of arms, one of Poland's many coats of arms adopted by several families, used the star and crescent. One of the families that adopted it was the Tarnowski family, and its usage is reflected on the arms of several Polish and Ukrainian towns. Star and crescent symbol is encoded at U+262A. The star and crescent appear, used in combination, in and around ancient Israel. It has been associated with the Moabites, 14th or early 13th-6th century BC, as the symbol or symbols appear on what are thought to be Moabite name seals. Crescents appearing together with a star or stars are a common feature of Sumerian iconography, the crescent usually being associated with the moon god Sin, Nana to the Sumerians, and the star, often identified as Venus, with Ishtar, Inanna to the Sumerians. However, in this context, there is a third element often seen, that being the sun disk of Shamash. Academic discussion of a star or stars together with crescents in Sumerian representations does not always clearly indicate if they appear in isolation, the star and crescent as such, or as part of a triad of symbols, the three celestial emblems, the sun disk of Shamash, U2 to the Sumerians, the crescent of Sin, Nana, and the star of Ishtar, Inanna to the Sumerians, or the crescent of Sin, the moon god. A star, or stars, and crescent featuring in some combination form the basis of symbols widely found across the ancient world, with examples attested from the eastern Mediterranean, Persia, and Central Asia. The symbol emerged into popular use during the 19th century as a modernistic national symbol for the Ottoman Empire during the westernizing Tanzimat reforms. The Ottoman flag of 1844 with a white IYLDZ, Turkish four-star crescent, on a red background continues to be in use as the flag of the Republic of Turkey with minor modifications. Other states formerly part of the Ottoman Empire also used the symbol, including Tunisia, 1831, Libya, 1951-1969 and after 2011, and Algeria, 1958. The same symbol was used in other national flags introduced during the 20th century, including the flags of Azerbaijan, 1918, Pakistan, 1947, Malaysia, 1948, and Mauritania, 1959. In Unicode, Ayod, the star of Ishtar and the ray of Shamash. 5 Nevertheless, later use of the star and crescent by the Parthians, and other Iranian dynasties is often traced to earlier use in Mesopotamia. As one scholar observed, Tihi Parthian king Mithridates I conquered Mesopotamia around 147 BC, and Susa in about 140 BC. A later Parthian king, Orodes II, 58–38 BC, issued coins at Susa and elsewhere which display a star and crescent on the obverse. The succeeding ruler,